This is 3 generations of here. This is my son, Chris Nesmith. You're going to introduce yourself?
This is my son, Dalton Nesmith. Blackwater Farms.
JetSweatertv.
Nine-year-old boy.
9-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay, and what was your first chicken? What bloodline?
Well, the first bloodline was out of eggs I ordered, and they called them Mountain Eagles. I don't know what they was. One come red, one come black. I just ordered the eggs. It was 80 something. I don't know. I don't know exactly.
Mid to early 80s.
I don't know exactly. I know I've had them for 40 years or longer already. Just have to figure back 40 years.
83, 84, somewhere in there.
Yep. I had the Gilmore a lot longer than that. I had them, they older than Chris. I had them 50 something years. The first ones I bought was cross ones.
Crosswind?
I mean, I always had a pure one or two with me, but I mean, most of the time when you go to the big derbies, you bring your best crosses, and then if you got a pure one or two to use as good as they are, then I use a pure one or two.
Okay. Can you please tell us about the Possum sweater that you started?
It's just a nickname from a hen that got caught by a possum, and everything that come out of her, we just called her Possum, because we'd say go feed the possum hen or water the possum hen, and then when she had her offspring, we just called them Possum. It's just a nickname. They just pure sweaters, but they were nicknamed Possum because the hen got caught by a possum. But she come back up and got well, and then I bred her, and then everything out of her was Possum. And Nene Bello got some of the first ones, and Mr. Jumper did too. Out of the first hatching, Nene got some, and Mr. Jumper got some, and I kept some. But there wasn't very many of the first one, because they were just that one hen, and we single measure, and they wasn't all that many, so I had enough to let Nene have a trio, and well, I let him have a rooster first. That's the 226 band number. That's what the reason he calls his 226. That was his band number we put in it.
How many bloodlines do you have in your farm?
Well, we only have 4 main bloodlines, but we got Kelso, Roundheads, and then I got my A-Seals and my Indios, but we only advertised the Gilmore, Yellow-Leg Hatch, Stewart, Sweater 5K, and Hoskin Gray. The Grays is Hoskin from Mr. Ray.
In your experience, what is the best cross to your Possum sweater?
What is the best cross?
Yeah.
They cross good with anything. I mean, I ain't got a favorite cross. I mean, with the Stewarts, I guess, I fought more of the crosses with the Stewart Yellow-Leg Hatch than I did anything.
And which is better? A half and half sweater, half Stewart, or 3/4 sweater, 1/4 Stewart, or 3/4 Stewart, 1/4 sweater?
Well, 3/4 sweater, 1/4 Stewarts are probably the best ones, especially for long knife and every kind of weapon. I mean, the 3/4 and 1/4 is probably the best. 3/4 Possum, 1/4 is Stewart. But half and halves are real good too.
In your experience, how do you point your chicken? Do you point them empty, full, or you're just in between, not too empty, not too full?
Empty, buddy. Empty and dry.
Empty and dry?
Yeah, I don't water. I take the water away from them 3 days before fight time, and I cut the feed 3 days in a row too. The last 3 days makes you or breaks you in this deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you don't know what you do in them last 3 days, them other 20 days you done had them up don't mean shit. If you don't know what to do in the last 3 days with them.
So,
Because anybody can get one in shape to
True.
fight, but they can't point them out. That's where they all think it's real hard, but it's not really that hard. It's just doing the same thing. I mean, if you just keep right in about the same thing every time. If you change anything, just make sure it's very little. Some of them don't point out the same. If you got a different bloodline like Roundhead and Kelso and A-Seals, you got to put a little feed in them. You can't fight them as empty as you do game chickens. They just won't take it. They go crazy if they don't eat.
so what do you do 3 days before the fight? Do you adjust the feeds, or do you give water, or you just give water by giving them eggs or raisins? What do you do?
Well, I give them a bill or two of water at night, but I make sure they don't. I make sure they don't give but a bill or two, and then I put a little egg white or a little bit of cooked rice for moisture. But I mean, I cut the feed and cut the water and moisture too. Well, I just good breaking chickens that hits a lot of licks. I mean, that's the way you get them for Mexico and Philippines. They got to hit a bunch of licks and they got to break good. They got to stay on top. They either stay on bottom or stay on top. Yeah, there ain't no in between. You in between, you dead. From all that many years, we never breed daddy-daughter. We never breed brother-sister matings. We always get cousins, uncles, aunts, something far apart from one another. That's how we keep the bloodline going. And sometimes I send some blood out to people that lives in a different state, and maybe 2 or 3, 4 years I bring home one from them that's kept my blood like I let them have it. And then we breed that into them, and it's like adding fresh blood when it comes from a different area of the country, you know. We don't do any business over the internet. We have to have them call us personally, and then they come visit, and we give them the prices and whatever when they get here. And but we don't do anything over the internet, except I just give my number out for people to get in touch with me. That's all. Okay, for my number is area code 205-275-4374. But Chris's number is 205-275-1228. That way they can get in touch with me or Chris, and then we make an appointment with them, whatever. Okay, I'd like to say thank you to Nini Abellio, and thank you to Mayor Nilo Rosales in the Philippines and Dave Lau in the Philippines.